The tragedy of Future Gohan. In the original Dragon Ball Z timeline, Gohan, a 4-year-old child, got kidnapped by his uncle. Then after that, Goku, his father, died and left him with Piccolo, who took him away to the wilderness, broke down the news of his father's death to him, then left him to fend off for himself so that he would get strong enough to train him and fight the upcoming threat of the Saiyans. As a 4-year-old kid, Gohan cries for help. He's scared and hungry. But Gohan always had great potential, and that's why Piccolo believed that he can survive. Gohan goes through a lot of things in the wilderness. He struggles to get food, he gets chased by a dinosaur and all sorts of deadly predators. One day Gohan falls into a hole, and that's where he meets a robot who is damaged and stuck underneath the rubble. After Gohan develops a bond between him and the robot, things start going south. Tons of rocks starts falling on them. Gohan gets scared and feels like his life is over. But the robot gathers its remaining strength to stand up and throw Gohan outside of the hole. Gohan then starts looking for the robot, and when he finds him, the robot is already way too damaged. Gohan starts crying. Then the robot wakes up for a few moments. He tells Gohan that he won't stay awake for too long. Gohan then refuses to let go, and he desperately tries to remove all the rubble surrounding the robot. But the robot tells him that it's useless. He tells him that he has to survive no matter what, and then he passes away. Seeing death for the first time, Gohan breaks into tears, but after that, he says to himself that he will try his best to survive while brushing off his tears and forcing a smile on his face. This is a really important moment in Gohan's growth as a character, because he learns to accept death. He little by little starts to understand the world around him, and turns from a child that can't do anything but cry to someone who can survive on their own in the wilderness. Gohan then trains with Piccolo until the Saiyans arrive, and when they do, he witnesses Yamcha's death, Chaozu exploding himself, Tien losing his arm, and Piccolo, the guy who was so harsh on him, sacrificing himself in order to save him. All of this affects Gohan and makes him feel responsible for the Z Fighters' apparent defeat. Of course, as we all know, Goku arrives, and with the help of Gohan and Krillin, they manage to defeat Vegeta and Nappa. By the end of it, Gohan is left badly hurt, and not long after, the Frieza saga begins. And after witnessing Krillin's death and Goku becoming a Super Saiyan, Gohan comes back to Earth and brings everyone back to life using the Dragon Balls. And here is where things take a really dark turn. Frieza survives the explosion of planet Namek and reaches Earth, but before he manages to do anything, Goku arrives and defeats him. But the new threat is what really turned Gohan's life around. The Dr. Giro's androids, Androids 17 and 18, start destroying all life on Earth. And right at that time, Goku dies from a heart virus. Not only that, but the androids manage to kill all the Z Fighters, including Piccolo, which means that the Dragon Balls won't be there anymore to revive anyone. Only Gohan, Bulma, and her son from Vegeta, Trunks, survive. Life on Earth becomes hell. The androids took pleasure in destroying everything. Gohan spent 13 years training, hiding, and moving from one place to the other, along with Bulma and Trunks. Future Gohan experienced a lot of trauma, missing his parents, his master, his friends, forced to live in a world where everything he ever loved was gone. And after Gohan decides to fight the androids, he loses an arm and barely survives. I believe that the reason why Future Gohan was never able to achieve Super Saiyan 2 like the Gohan we know is not only because he didn't train with Goku, but also because of his mindset. Future Gohan wanted to be like Goku. He wanted to live up to his father's name, but he never believed in himself. He thought of himself as a much weaker person than Goku, which is why 13 years of training weren't enough to defeat the androids. One day, while Gohan was with Trunks, he learns that the androids are destroying a city. And when he hears about it, he decides to knock Trunks out because he feels Trunks is not ready yet, and goes to fight the androids on his own. Future Gohan tries his best, but ultimately, the androids kill him. In Gohan's last moments, he screams, thinking and feeling that he failed everyone. What really highlights how unfortunate Future Gohan's life was in Dragon Ball Super when Future Trunks sees the Gohan from the alternate timeline and how much his life is different. He sees him holding his child, having a wife, and the job of his dreams. Trunks then remembers how tragic Future Gohan's life was in comparison, and starts crying because his Gohan never had any of that. In the end, Future Gohan spent his life in suffering, seeing everyone he ever loved dead. And in his final moments, he experiences pain and suffering, feeling alone and a failure. This was Future Gohan's life. This is the tragedy of Future Gohan.